Hello and welcome to C.G. Radio. I am your host, Cable Guy. I hope everyone is well out in Radio Land today, as am I. So, for today's podcast, I have YouTuber on the line with me, Brian Zane, host of the YouTube channel, Wrestling with Wregret. And I know I keep doing stuff about wrestling. Okay, yeah, I'm a fan. And, he has a lot of cool stuff on there, so I really strongly recommend that people check him out if you're a wrestling fan, especially if you grew up during the Attitude Era like I did, and where he pokes a lot of fun at a lot of the stuff that went on back then. He also has a lot of cool merchandise that you want to check out, and again, if you grew up during that era, you could definitely see the subtlety between it all. So, without further ado, let's get Brian Zane on the horn.
Yo.
Hey, what's up, Brian Zane? You're on C.G. Radio. What's going on, guy?
It's going good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm happy you're here, bro. So, your channel, Wrestling with Wregret, it's garnered quite a following over the past few years. And I really want to talk to you about that, because you got a great channel there, an excellent resource for wrestling fans out there. But let's just start from the beginning about what inspired you to get into the business.
Well, the beginning is a good place to begin. As far as getting into the wrestling business, I was, just a fan like everybody else. I started watching in the late 1990s, the Attitude Era. That's when things were really taking off. And it was, I was still, even though I saw kids in the hallway wearing wrestling shirts, didn't really matter to me at that point. And then, like, a friend of mine rented World Tour for the N64, and we played it so much I had to know what these wrestlers were like in real life, and that's when I started watching wrestling in the beginning. It's all with a video game. But I'm kind of off the mark here. As far as, like, getting into business, I was just a fan, and I loved wrestling. I wanted to be a part of it however I could. And, like, at the time, the indie scene in Oregon, where I was growing up and going to school, it wasn't, like, that widespread yet, and the internet and social media was just in its infancy, so it was hard for people like me to know where things were at, because I didn't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was in school as a freshman in college, and I saw that Playboy Buddy Rose, who I'd heard about, on and off from different things as I was watching wrestling as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
I found he had a school in my hometown of Portland. And as I learned, I figured, but Buddy Rose and Colonel Beers, Ed Wiskowski, those two ran the school together, and they both, they did very well for themselves in the Pacific Northwest back when they were territories. And so they eventually just kind of found and they staked their claim, and they lived there. Buddy and Ed both lived in Vancouver, Washington for a long time. So they ran a school in Portland, and so every chance I could, I went up to Portland from my college times in Eugene to go train. And that's kind of how it all began. I trained for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
Started wrestling in 2006, probably still wasn't ready yet. I don't think I'm ready to this day. But, I wrestled for a bit, and then I became a manager in 2007, and that's kind of what I've been doing ever since.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, so what type of memorable matches have you managed?
I've been managing? I thought you were going to ask me what memorable matches I had, like as a wrestler. I couldn't tell you the answer to that one. It's not a good one. It's not a good list.
Right.
They're all memorable for the wrong reasons, let's just say.
Right.
There is one match I'm very proud of where all I did was just bounce off a guy and he chokeslammed me, and it was the best chokeslam buff I've ever seen.
Oh, nice.
And I did it, so it was cool.
Was it like an Undertaker grade choke slam?
It was like, no, because I think this was like taller than anything Undertaker or Kane could ever done. It's more like a 911 choke slam, from ECW. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Just something like super high, and it's like I totally came down too high on my back, and it looked cool when you watch it back, but it didn't feel good. But as far as matches I've managed, I've been involved in plenty of championship matches in my local indie feds. I guess my greatest claim to fame is I managed the former NWA champion, the Almighty Sheik.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with the original Sheik or
Mm-hmm.
Iron Sheik or anything like that. The Almighty Sheik. He actually, a while ago, merged the NWA and AWA championships for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to manage him for a couple of shows in California.
Nice.
And that's one of the things I'm most proud of. And I've managed against people like Gangrel
Oh,
and
okay.
people like that. So it's been a great. It's been my career itself in wrestling is nothing nothing that's special in the grand scheme of things. I think my greater legacy is with my show.
Right. What did you have any interactions with Gangrel?
But yeah, I mean, I think Gangrel's a really cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the coolest people I've met in my time in wrestling locker rooms. I think the first coolest guy I've met is probably Mustafa Saeed from ECW originally.
Okay.
He's a great guy. But yeah, I think most people I've encountered in wrestling have been pretty okay in my book.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Okay. Good deal. All right, so what advice would you have for the newbies out there? Because after, I'll be honest, I was kind of inspired to become a wrestling manager myself, and I actually checked out a school out here in Buffalo and all that. So what advice would you have for the newbies out there?
Just to listen and be respectful and tuck your chin. That's the biggest thing I would say. Tuck your chin, keep your mouth closed and your eyes and ears open. It's something that I wish I had, done more than one, on most occasions as a wrestler. But something I would definitely tell anyone who wants to get in the business to do.
Okay, good deal. So I see that you've done a few interviews yourself with some wrestlers. Do you got any funny stories or interactions with any of them?
Well, I did I think one of my biggest career highlights with this show has to be my work I've done with Jim Cornette. In particular, the Vince Russo will change your life sketch. It got me blocked by Vince Russo on Twitter for a while, but it did help gain me a friend in Jim Cornette because he was really cool to work with. I flew to Louisville to shoot our portion together. Probably the most extravagant thing I've done in the history of me doing this show is flying on location to get a cameo. But yeah, it was really cool. Like there were some moments when we were recording our bits that I was talking too fast, getting ahead of myself. And Jim's a great coach, because that's part of what he did behind the scenes was kind of mentor and coach people when it came to promos and characters. Mm-hmm. And so he was a great, kind of director and kind of great, giving me good advice on how to, pace myself and everything. So that was really good, because I've been doing acting and performing as a wrestler for a long time. I've been involved in theater for most of my life.
Okay.
So I have that background, but it's still nice, after all that to still get, that kind of input from someone else who's been there and who's done something so cool as Jim Cornette has. So that's probably one of my biggest highlights.
Right.
He's the only real big cameo I've had that was really hands-on. I got to meet face-to-face because everyone I've been fortunate enough to work with has all been done electronically, like Skype and, having someone else film the video and send it to me digitally.
Right.
So,
right. I understand. Yeah, Cornette's hilarious. I love his Vince Russo rants. So funny, so funny yet so true. So Russo really blocked you on Twitter over that?
Yeah, but we made up fine, and I actually got to interview him at WrestleCon this past year in Dallas, and he's I make fun of Vince Russo on my show, and I think he's kind of an easy target historically, but it's all in jest. I don't really think that Russo was a bad booker. I mean, I think everyone makes everyone's a good booker. No one's been perfect. Everyone's has made bad decisions.
I agree.
Russo's happened to be under a very bright spotlight. I think that's kind of the big difference.
Right.
When he fell hard.
Right.
But when he nailed it, it was great. So, I think he's largely misunderstood, and I think he is, his run in WCW is one of a myriad number of things that caused, WCW to fall and things like TNA to suffer as they did. So yeah, I mean, I think in Vince Russo, he's been cool with me, so I can't complain.
Right. Okay. Well, I've been trying to get everybody on at some point, so I plan to get him on, and he did bring us some good things. Remember, we can't deny DX, right?
Well, and here's the thing. I've said this to people, fans who have texted me and tweeted me and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would be a fan today if it weren't for what Vince Russo did as a writer.
Right.
And, I'm sure Jim Cornette, my quote-unquote illegitimate father or whatever, I'm sure he would disown me for saying such a thing. But it's true because when I first started watching wrestling, I started watching WCW because I was playing the N64 game, remember?
Right.
So that was my first knowledge of it.
Right.
I didn't really know what WWF was doing at the time. But the minute I switched over one channel on my cable box to, USA, and saw what they were doing at the time, which I think was Undertaker and Kane and Austin and Mankind, all that jibber jabber going on that spring and summer.
Right.
That's what got me hooked. And it's like, okay, I like this stuff a lot better than WCW. And that was kind of it. And I don't think I would have been as engaged as a wrestling fan as I am, and I was, if it weren't for, Vince Russo's influence as a writer of Raw. He was putting out the stuff I liked.
Okay. Well, yeah. Here leads to a follow-up question. Do you remember where you were the day that Mankind got thrown off the cage?
No, I don't really, because like I said, it was January 96 or 98, in which I was getting when I was getting finally involved in wrestling. And so at the time I was waffling between WCW and WWF.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't really privy to the pay-per-view schedule or the structure or how it all went. Because at this point, I had never watched wrestling before this point. So
right.
I was all getting used to it. And so, some of my earliest memories of WWF when I watched it as a teen did consist of, like, the fallout from Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm.
But never did I really understand the gravity of the situation until, like, I started watching it more and saw the flashbacks and watched the match, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can't say I remembered where I was or anything like that.
Okay. I was like into wrestling back in the day, like back in where it was like Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, all that. And then like I kind of just lost interest, and I walked into a room and I saw that instantly right as I walked in. I'm like, oh, okay, they've stepped it up a notch over the years.
Yeah.
So, okay, now here's a question that I ask everybody on the show. Who do you think would win in an all-out fight? They're both at their primes. Brock Lesnar or Ming?
Or who?
Or Ming. Haku.
Oh, probably Meng, I would think.
Right.
Because, Lesnar's, he's a legitimate wrestling athlete and stuff, but I mean, Meng's a fighter, he's a scrapper, he's a dirty fighter.
Yeah, I heard he's a killer.
Mm-hmm. So, that's probably who I would go for.
Right.
If were I a betting man.
Well, my money's on, I'm a Ming guy all the way, because you don't mess with a man who throws a dude out the second-story window.
You're a Meng.
Yeah. Yep. Like, you heard that story where he threw the dude out the second-story window. I don't know if that dude lived or died, but...
Well, yeah, that's not the story. The story is what Meng did. And I think it's kind of like, I feel like with him, it's kind of reached that Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson level of storytelling where you could hear him say, you would hear a story about something he did, some wild, violent thing, and you believe it because his reputation precedes him.
Right. Okay, so do you have any upcoming bookings coming?
There's going to be the Internet Darlings live happening the day before WrestleMania in Orlando.
Okay.
With, myself, Adam Blampier from What Culture, Graham from Grimm's Toy Show, Stephen Larson from the Going in Raw podcast, Joe Cronin, JD from New York, and Matthew from Botchamania, and a Partridge and a Pear Tree. And it's going to be a big, just live roundtable discussion event. We're going to be talking about wrestling stuff from the WrestleMania card to, just generalities about wrestling. We want to have some panel discussions. We want to do Q&As with the fans, and of course meet and greets afterward. And so that's what's happening there. If anyone is interested in going to tickets, go to literally any video I've posted in the last 6 months, and there's always a link for tickets. Or check my Twitter feed at ZManBrianZane. It's pinned at the top for ticket link there for more information. But as far as other wrestling bookings, nothing is confirmed just yet outside of a show in Reno at the end of this month. And, there's others going on, but I cannot divulge those as of right now, let's just say.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to keep everybody posted on that, because, I'd love to see you on YouTube and all that. What about on those What Culture professional wrestling shows? Could you see yourself getting booked onto those?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love what WCW's been doing. I think what Culture deciding to run a wrestling federation is great. I think the market is great for what it was right for them coming in and just doing a wrestling show.
Right.
As far as working for them, I'd be totally open to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a matter of getting all the stars to align, basically.
Right. Yeah, they do put out, I started watching it on YouTube when they put the shows on live, and they do put on a good show, and I'm pretty sure, they heavily implied that I think they're bringing in Rey Mysterio, so that should be pretty cool.
Well, that's what, again, I love what they're doing there. They have the budget to do so they're able to, spend the big money to get the big stars, and that gets a lot of buzz around them.
Right.
So I think it's genius. That's what they're doing, and they've got the built-in audience because they have a huge YouTube channel, and they've got they're in the perfect market for it because the UK wrestling market is doing amazing right now. So it's a perfect storm for them. I hope they do well in the long term.
Who knows? Maybe we could see them on TV one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Like you never know, because they seem to be garnering more. And I'm not running down TNA because they've done some real good matches on TNA, but they seem to be getting more of a following now than TNA. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, and you look at some of the other homegrown regional federations out there that are also doing well. They're getting a lot of exposure. Like, on the West Coast, there's PWG and there's Hood Slam. There's APW, which is making a real big name for themselves. APW in the Bay Area of California is very akin to WCPW almost in that respect, where the guy who's running it, Marcus Mack, is doing a great job he's bringing in names. The next show in February, I'm going to be there in attendance, and I'll be there to meet fans and stuff if they can recognize me. This show's going to have Cody Rhodes and Pentagon Jr. and Zack Sabre Jr. And they've had MVP and Broken Matt Hardy on their shows. So they bring in names. They don't screw around. They want to establish their reputation as being the best. And so they're almost taking the WCPW model, which is great.
Right. Nice. All right, Brian. So now we're at the segment of our show, which I'm sure you heard in my other interviews, called Legitimate Problems That Wrestling Fans Had to Deal With, okay? Now, granted, I'm just like a year or two younger than you, so I grew up in that Attitude Era and all that. So I'm curious, one wrestling fan to another, did you ever have to deal with these legitimate wrestling problems where if you're not paying attention, like this is back when you could get a diamond cutter or an RKO in a pool or something like that. Did you ever have to deal with that issue growing up?
No, because I was usually the only one in my circle of friends who was like really into wrestling. So it was, I was always the one giving others moves, and they were kind of like, going along with it half-heartedly.
Nice.
So it wasn't an issue. I mean, I wish I was like that, where I had a bunch of friends I could do, wrestling moves too. Yeah. But that's not the childhood I had, I guess.
Right. Well, it's something a lot of us had to deal with, and I was a little skinny twig boy growing up, so if like a big fat dude like jumped on me to give me a diamond cutter into a pool, like it or not, it's happening. The best thing to do was just to sell it and go with it, I guess. So, but yes, thank you for coming on our show, and it was very good talking with you, and I'd like to have you on again for a follow-up interview down the road.
Sure, sounds good. May I plug everything I have real quick? Plug all my stuffs.
Oh, okay. And, and I look forward to seeing your next video on Wrestling with Wregret.
Right, it's on YouTube, Wrestling with Wregret with a W at the beginning. The Twitter feed's at Z-Man Brian Zane. The Facebook page, Wrestling with Wregret. Buy the t-shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees, like I always say. They're steal a deal, only $17 plus shipping and handling. It's cheaper than the average Pro Wrestling t-shirt. They usually charge $20, I charge $17. So save a few bucks with me.
Okay, nice. All right, bro. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye now.
All right, and there you have it, everybody. What a cool dude. Really has a lot of insight on a lot of things. So, yeah, check out Wrestling with Wregret. It's a really great channel if you're a wrestling fan. And I wish everybody well. See you next time.